What is up, Light Fam? Welcome to another video. My name is David. This video is part 2 of my astral projection series on how to astral project. I kind of forgot that I was supposed to make this video until I had an astral projection a little over a week ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to make the how-to portion of this. So this video is how to astral project. Let's get into it right now. If you haven't seen part 1 of this astral projection series, you can go watch it right here. What is astral projection? And I recommend that you do go and watch that video, because not only will it give you a solid foundation on what astral projection actually is, but you'll also get a deeper understanding on why learning to astral project will give you a deeper insight into what you actually are. You will learn through experience, or gnosis, that there is way more to reality than what you see with your physical eyes. And this drastically helps in reducing how seriously you take the 3D world. How to astral project is a massive topic with a lot of different techniques. So I want to keep this video as concise, organized, and to the point as possible. So I've organized everything into 4 sections. The first section is going to be on energy manipulation. Section 2 is going to be sleep paralysis. Section 3 is going to be exit techniques. And then section 4 is just going to be some closing tips to make the process a little bit easier for you. But how all of that fits together is you need to induce sleep paralysis through the use of energy manipulation. Once you're in sleep paralysis, then you can use an exit technique to exit your body. I've also time-stamped these different segments in the description below so that you can just jump right to what you're looking for. All right, guys, so this is the energy manipulation section of the video. Why is energy manipulation so important? Well, when you are able to manipulate or direct your energy or your chi, you are able to induce sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is the launching pad for an astral projection. Now, I learned energy manipulation by watching Robert Bruce's video series called New Energy Ways, which you can go watch right here. I will also link those videos in the description box below. They're 8 little 3-minute videos where Robert is walking someone through how to manipulate energy. And it's Robert Bruce's energy manipulation techniques that have caused me to have a morning routine that consists of Qigong, which is all energy direction and manipulation, as well as microcosmic orbital meditation. Now, before you look at your phone like, what the heck is that? You can go watch this video here, right here, or you can go watch this video right here, microcosmic orbital meditation. And essentially what you're doing is you're taking energy and you're bringing it up through your chakras. So you're bringing that energy up and your chakras are pop, 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 and it comes through your crown, and then you cycle it or orbit it back through. So you're cycling that energy, orbiting that energy in a circular manner, which is why it's called orbital. And this is why my chakras are typically wide open 24/7 because of this practice. But the point of that is when you become adept at manipulating and directing energy, you're able to induce sleep paralysis, and then we can use an exit technique to have the astral projection. So this is the section of the video that is going to require you guys to do a little bit of homework and practicing on manipulating energy, directing energy to different parts of your body to bring on those violent vibrations associated with sleep paralysis. So you may remember from part 1 of this astral projection series, I mentioned the violent vibrations that take over your body and kind of put you in this sleep paralyzed state of numbness where you can't feel your body. And it's the directing of your energy that brings on those violent vibrations. So for me, if I'm in that half awake, half asleep state, which is what we call the hypnagogic state, Now, let me just back up. I can't do this laying in bed at night, at least. I can in the morning, but if I'm in bed at night, my body's out. Like there. However, if I'm if I'm sitting on the couch at night, then that window of being conscious of being half asleep, and that's the thing, conscious of being half asleep, is much longer, and I can intentionally direct my energy to bring on sleep paralysis and those violent vibrations so that I can try an exit technique. So this is the way that I do it. When I realize that I am half asleep, I will direct my energy first towards my feet. So I envision my feet engulfed in pure white light energy, and I'm also feeling that energy as well all through my feet, and then my feet go numb. And then I raise that energy up. I move it up through my ankles and then up through my shins. Again, feeling, that's the big thing, feeling and also seeing that white light. And then my shins go numb. And I continue to move that energy up. And as that energy is moving upward and the lower portion of my body is getting numb and kind of heavy, I start to hear a high frequency ringing in my ear, which gets higher pitched and louder, and then that turns into those violent vibrations where you're now in sleep paralysis. And sleep paralysis is this feeling of having a heavy lead blanket on top of your body where, you can't move, but you're conscious of it. Now, those violent vibrations, if I'm attempting to project somewhat frequently, I don't really get those anymore. But if it's been a long time in between astral projection attempts, then yeah, I will get the violent vibrations. This is the sleep paralysis section of the video. So you've made it to that sleep paralysis state where you feel like there's this heavy lead blanket on top of your body. And this is the point where you would want to start thinking about which exit technique to use, which we'll go over in a little bit here. But just to be clear, sleep paralysis is where your mind is awake, but your body is asleep. So in other words, your body is paralyzed to keep it from acting out in the physical what you're experiencing in your dreams. Obviously, this is a safety mechanism, and this is something that all of us do every single night. It's a very natural thing. It's just that our minds are not awake to be aware of it. But conscious sleep paralysis is the holy grail of astral projection because it's the launching pad of an out-of-body experience, because sleep paralysis releases those tethers that keep your consciousness localized to your physical body, and now your consciousness can leave the location of your physical body. It's interesting. I looked up sleep paralysis, and apparently it's this condition that people suffer with. But if you're a projector, it's not a condition, it's a blessing. Like, you're like, please give me conscious sleep paralysis, because once you get into that state, you've got a phenomenal chance of having an out-of-body experience. Now, just a quick heads up about sleep paralysis. You may experience a heavy, dark figure or entity sitting on your chest, or you may see shadow people. And as scary as that sounds, they are harmless. Don't let it freak you out. Yes, I have experienced all of that, and they are harmless. So without turning this into a 30 or 40 minute video by going way off topic and explaining what they are and all of that, just realize that if you do experience that dark figure sitting on your chest or shadow people, just know that they can't harm you, and to not freak out, because if you freak out, you're definitely not going to be able to have an astral projection. And one thing that I will say, I noticed that whenever I did experience that dark entity sitting on my chest or see shadow people, was only when I unintentionally woke up in the middle of sleep paralysis. But I never experienced a dark entity or shadow people when I intentionally induced sleep paralysis. So you may not experience the dark entity or shadow people if you're intentionally inducing the sleep paralysis. So you may not even come into contact with any of that stuff. But it's harmless regardless, so don't let it freak you out. But now that you're in that sleep paralysis state, let's get into the exit technique so that you can have an out-of-body experience. This is the exit technique section of the video. So you will probably see a lot of videos that talk about the rope technique. And usually in all of those videos, the person that made the video discusses how the rope technique never worked for them. And yeah, I can confirm that. When I first started, I was envisioning pulling my astral body out of my physical body by envisioning pulling myself out by a rope, and it never worked. What does work for me is reconstructing the intense feeling and visualization of free falling. That works very well for me. So I might visualize going over the top of the roller coaster, or jumping off the Eiffel Tower, or jumping off the Empire State Building. And along with that visual, you get that intense feeling in the pit of your stomach, and your astral body is separating. It just falls at a high G-force, high velocity, and that can help attain separation. The opposite is true, where you may envision being shot up or slingshot up into the air at, high velocity, high G-forces. If you've ever been at an amusement park where you've been on one of those slingshot rides or rocket ship rides that take you straight up, you can kind of reconstruct that feeling, and you may be able to attain separation that way. For whatever reason, with me, I'm able to visualize and feel free falling a lot easier than I am being able to shoot up. So I've had a lot more success with the free falling method or technique than the slingshot technique. I learned another great technique by watching William Buhlman's videos. Now, William Buhlman is a leading expert on OBEs, out-of-body experiences. I will link his channel in the description below. But William Buhlman has a technique called the location targeting technique. And the location targeting technique is exactly what it sounds like. You're going to focus on the location to which you want to project. You want to maintain this delicate balance of your focus between the body and the destination. Because if you're thinking of leaving your body, your focus is on your body and your consciousness is going to go where you're focused, which also means that once you do exit, don't think about your body because you'll go right back. But the analogy that would fit here would kind of be like, let's say you're driving your car someplace. So the destination is the main focus. The car is almost an afterthought. You're not really thinking about the car too much. It's just kind of a given that it's going to get you where you want to go. And your main focus is the destination. So that's going to be the main technique, is focusing on where you want to go, not so much on your body. You only want to focus on your body just enough to employ either the free falling technique, what I like to call the death drop, or the slingshot technique, where you just get that intense feeling in the pit of your stomach, and then you want to focus on your target location to where you want to project. Now, one of the things William Buhlman says to do is to go to that location. Maybe it's the outside of your front door, or maybe it's a tree in your backyard, but you want to go to that location. If it's a tree in your backyard, maybe you're looking at the bark, you're looking at all the lines in the bark, you're studying every little detail about the bark of that tree. Or maybe you're looking at all the key scratches around that keyhole on the lock of your front door. So this is what you're going to be focusing on. Energy flows where attention goes, right? So when you're employing an exit technique, you're going to focus and really feel present. You're really standing in front of that front door, looking at those key scratches and really almost obsessing on the little details that helps to pull your consciousness to that location. All right, guys, so this is the closing tips section of the video. So closing tip number 1 would be stay calm and don't panic. Don't get too excited. Have what I like to call an unimpressed demeanor about the sensations you may be feeling before you project and even after you project. Because once you get out, if you're like, oh my goodness, I'm out, this is happening, it's happening, you're going to shoot right back to your body. So don't let your emotions spike too high. You want to remain relaxed yet aware. The next closing tip that I would suggest is incorporate a daily habit of energy manipulation and direction. That could look like a daily Qigong practice. That could look like a daily microcosmic orbital meditation practice. But the more adept that you get at directing and manipulating energy where you want it to go, the more adept you will get at inducing conscious sleep paralysis, which is your jumping off point for an astral projection. The next closing tip that I would recommend would be intention. Yeah, so if astral projection is your intention, more opportunities to astral project will present themselves. So if you ever notice what's on your mind the most is typically what you will dream about. Or have you ever noticed like the last thing that you watch on TV before going to bed, that's what you dream about? Well, it's the same way with astral projection. If astral projection is on your mind, now more opportunities to project pop up. So now you might actually wake up in the middle of sleep paralysis. Or maybe you might be in a lucid dream and you are realizing that you're dreaming and you try an exit technique, or you try a location targeting technique. Or now when you are on the couch and you're kind of half asleep, half awake, you're in that hypnagogic state, you may intentionally employ an exit technique. And the final closing tip is to just remember to lay perfectly still and do not move no matter what. Now, your body is going to test whether or not your mind is still awake. And this test is going to come in the form of the most insanely annoying itch on your face. So the body is checking to see if the mind is still awake, because if the mind is still awake, the mind may cause the body to act out the dreams, and that may not be safe. So no matter what you do, it's just a test. Do not scratch that itch because you'll be signaling to the body that you're still awake and it won't shut itself off. So those are the closing tips. There is a lot more to this subject. And if I see a lot of questions in the comments and a lot of interest on this, I will make a part 3 to this topic of astral projection, just to tie up any loose ends. So now it is time for the question of the day. Are you going to learn how to astral project? Leave those comments in the comments below. I'm going to leave that in. I'm not even going to edit that out. Leave those comments below, Light Fam. I would love to get an open discussion on this one. You know how it goes. If you liked the video, then please like the video. For more videos on how to astral project or anything having to do with the spiritual awakening or 5D consciousness, please click the subscribe button. Also, remember to add me over on Instagram _Lightways. I do answer a lot of questions over there, and I got to thank you guys for asking those questions, because you guys keep me in video topics. So keep asking those questions over on the grams. Hey, what's happening? That's the confirmation that you guys need to add me on Instagram and ask those questions. Have a look in the description box below. We have the free 30-minute guided meditation on abundance. Again, if you have Gmail, that meditation will be under the promotions tab. I have been getting a lot of response from you guys, positive feedback on the guided meditation on abundance. So it is making a positive change in your all's lives, and I'm so glad I was able to provide that to you. We also have the one-on-one Zoom sessions coaching, link in the description below for that. Also, if you know anyone that wants to learn how to astral project, please share this video with them. It may give them the insight that they need to learn how to astral project. All right, guys, I will see all of you in the next video. You know how we do it. Light, love, and abundance to all that are watching and to all you love. Peace, guys. Peace by Dallas.